Hello everyone, this is Jimmy and welcome to episode 11 of Rustic Waters. Yesterday we set up a system to automatically produce crates of farm goods, and now we have to start selling them for money. So to do so we have to build this multi-block, which aside from that wireless transmitter, I don't think there's anything special in it. Does that wireless transmitter have a weird recipe? Nope, not at all. Cool. So let's build it real quick. Alright, so I think it's the input goes above there, the output goes here, and the transmitter goes here. There we go. And then I just need a single item conduit to move these. And that should reasonably quickly. This is the input, right? There we go. It doesn't even take power, and it's very fast, but it starts making gil. Sweet. And that effectively completes this part of the quest line. For some reason, these two quests are locked behind the quest called Looking Ahead, and I, for the life of me, have no clue where in the quest book that quest is. So I guess we just can't complete them right now. But anyways, that brings us to the... Well, I guess there's one more thing we want to do. We want to store this gil in probably a drawer or something. And just like that, we are $450 richer, and this will just keep producing, more or less forever. All right, so with that system built, let's look at our next problem, power. Our power is slowly draining because we can just this system alone, the compactors consumes more power than we're producing. So we're gonna have to look at some improved power generation options. It looks like we can either go towards diesel or we can upgrade our existing system to ethanol. And given these options, since ethanol only doubles our power generation, let's see if we can get to diesel power. So as far as I can tell, the goal is to make the core sample drill from immersive engineering. This is used to sample whether or not there's, supposedly oil in the chunk. And then we can make the pump jack, which is another immersive engineering multi-block. I guess it's a multi-block, so it doesn't show up in GAI. But that'll actually pull the oil out of basically out of nothing. So we have to start by crafting a drill head out of Invar. One core sample drill. And I guess we'll start by running it in the chunk that we'll probably try to use the power in, which I don't think I can actually fit everything in here, so let's not do it there. The multi-blocks are pretty big, so I guess I'll put them in our new room here. Because it takes... F9, go away. What is... Oh, this is just the item I'm holding showing new lines, I see. It takes like 4 or 5 different multi-blocks total, I think, right? You have to pump the oil, then you have to refine the oil. Anyways, we do need a little bit of power, though, so I guess let me charge up a power cell and use it as portable power. Huh, turns out you can't actually buy thermal expansion energy cells. None of the vendors have it. This one only has satchels and dynamos, as well as upgrades. And this guy, he has capacitors, but... oh well, I guess we'll just buy the Ender IO one then. It's a little bit more expensive and holds less energy, but basic will do $1,000. Pretty expensive, but we're about to be rich, so... I also don't have a means of crafting $500 bills here. Pursue. Alright, here's your $1,000 for a basic capacitor bank. Let's go charge it. It's actually been a little while since I recorded the last segment, because if you remember before, power was full. Now it's empty. It's empty because it's all being used here. Right? This thing's actually only running at half power. Good news is, we now have a lot of money, $25,000. So, I feel less bad about spending 1,000 of it to buy the energy cell. Anyways, let's set the top as another output, and we'll just set you here for a little bit. We don't need a lot. I think it only uses like 10,000 RF per sample, so probably once it charges to a couple, maybe 100,000, we can go run our core sample drill. While you're holding the drill, you'll notice like the chunk borders are very faintly shown. That's because the resources are divided per chunk. So just place it down, give it power. Did you get power? And I think, and then right click it. and it'll like do a cute little animation thing, and when it's done, it'll spit out a core sample, and that'll tell you what resource is in the chunk. In this case, we got nothing. I tend to place these somewhere on the ground. I think you shift right click to place it, and then it'll just remind you for future reference that what that chunk has. So we've sampled that one. Let's try this one. Anyways, I'm gonna go for a little bit and hopefully find a chunk with oil in it. See how we do on this one. I think they're about 10% of chunks, so we got something. We got a uranium vein. You can also get mineral veins, right, which you can extract with the excavator, but I'm not interested in that right now. Well, here we got a lava vein. That could be useful if we find ourselves needing lava. The pump jack can also pull up lava, but it's not what we need right now. All right, here we go. We found an oil vein. So 2 million-ish millibuckets of crude oil. It's in this chunk here, which is not terribly convenient, but I guess I could build like a second level, maybe, and fit everything up there. That seems clunky, but fair. Anyways, I'm gonna put this, let's put it right here. And we'll move on. I think the next part of the quest has us making the actual pumps. Normally, to build the pump jack, you consult the documentation book here for immersive engineering. You collect those components and you build this multi-block as shown. However, the quest book walks us through a different line that gets us ultimately to a one-time use capsule, which I presume contains a pump jack in it. And I think we're ready to build it. This ultimately uses slightly less materials, I think, but the main advantage is it's much more convenient to place, because now we can just be like, where do I want to put it? Anyways, it has to fit into, I guess I have to turn chunks on now. It has to fit into this chunk somewhere. Can I fit it just here? Looks a lot like I can. If I go into third person view, can I see the preview better? Because once I place it, I can't easily move it. Alright, this looks like it'll do. Let me just check the orientation real quick. You know what? Here goes nothing. That's not quite where I was hoping it would be. I was hoping it'd be a couple blocks further forward. Because now that it's in two chunks, I actually don't know what chunk it mines. Although since the animation comes out of that end, I think it mines from that end. Anyways, I need to hit one of these components with my engineer's hammer, which naturally I don't have on me. And it'll form the multi-block. Probably that one. No. What do I hit? I hit something here. Oopsies. Don't hit those. I'll figure it out, I promise. I'll read the book. Heavy engineering block on the second layer. There's something wrong with the multi-block then. 1 second. So immersive engineering has a projector. If you craft it with engineer's manual that's turned to the page of the multi-block you want to build, it'll set the projector. My plan is just to overlay it. That seems less useful. I'll put it side by side. At a glance, I can already tell it looks like it's left to right mirrored, and apparently it doesn't like that. So I have to swap these two blocks with these two blocks, I think. That ought to do it. I'm not sure if I did something wrong using the capsule to cause it to become mirrored, or if the build in the capsule itself is just mirrored. In any event, form. No, still not doing it. All right, now I have to actually compare it to this. Now, actually, can I overlay it? Yeah. The overlay. Let's turn off F9. The overlay is green, so it thinks it's good. Now what am I doing wrong? Structure is formed by using the engineer's hammer on the heavy engineering block on the second layer. Heavy engineering block, layer 1, layer 2. Is it the back side of it? Aha! We figured it out. Alright, cool. So here's our pump jack. It takes energy in through, let's see, so this is a redstone port. This is the energy in. I have to somehow run power here. And this is fluid out. I'll probably use, yeah, I'm thinking I'll probably just use ender chests or ender tanks to move the fluid because there's no room in here to do anything. And I don't know what to do for power. Looking at this quest line here, I'm not actually sure what it's leading us towards. It seems to be doing some type of magnetic craft diesel generator, actually. But looking at the uses of crude, the easiest one that I see, anyways, is that we can distill it in a reflux column down to naphtha, do it once again into refined fuel, and then just burn that in a compression dynamo for pretty good power. In fact, I think it is the most efficient compression dynamo fuel. Yeah, by a comfortable amount. So, and that we can make with just like a couple single block refineries, right? And we even get a small bonus for using, I mean, water as coolant, um, but we even get a coolant bonus on top of it. So, do we get a coolant? Do compression dynamos use fuel if you don't, or use coolant? I thought they didn't use coolant if you didn't give them. Anyways, whatever. I thought. Wait, what do we have here? Is this a compression? No, this is a steam dynamo. All right, whatever. I'll figure it out later. Point is, we can use the fuel very efficiently that way. So I'm wondering what this is trying to lead us to, and is it worth it? So to take a peek ahead at the quest, I'm going to turn on edit mode again and just see what it's going to try to make us make. All right, so next quest is to make diesel. Makes sense. Oh no, this is still the immersive engineering generator. All right, so the immersive engineering generator literally eats diesel or it eats fuel for dinner, and it produces just over 4,000 RF a tick. Um, and there's a portable version of it. I'm gonna check the configs to make sure if the immersive engineering generator hasn't been buffed, then I'm not getting anywhere near it. It's awful. So looking at the configs here for immersive petroleum, it says, let's see, format is fluid name, millibucket per tick, flux per tick. So for diesel, it consumes 1 millibucket a tick and produces 256. This is for the portable generator. I couldn't find a config for the actual diesel generator, but just using this one for reference, for a bucket of diesel, we get 256,000, right? We can drop 3 zeros in front of each RF, whereas if we process it the thermal expansion way, not only do we get more power, but it's much easier because we don't need to process this. We need a refinery, mix it with ethanol, or we can process it through the magnetic craft refinery. But then actually, we can't even. No, we can't. We have to go diesel, crude oil, heat it into hot crude, refine it into these things, yada yada yada. Point is, why do more work for less rewards? So my plan then is to take crude oil, let's see, which I'm 99% sure that's what comes out of this pump jack. It's either this crude oil or this crude oil, but I'm pretty sure both work. And then put it through a couple fractioning stills, and I think this augment we can buy. Before we get too committed into things, so let's start by running the pump jack a little bit just to make sure it works. So that'll drain our battery here almost instantly, but it should result in. Does it need a redstone signal to run? Or maybe it just can't push fluid. I think it might have to push fluid into an immersive engineering pipe. All right, let's try that again using a immersive engineering pipe as a transfer. No, why aren't you running? I'm like 90% sure it's redstone turns it off. Been a real struggle day for me and Minecraft mechanics. Yeah, it definitely didn't turn it on. It still has power. Alright, hold up. I suspect then maybe because this is a block that I hit to make it into a multi-block, that's actually the tile entity, and the tile entity then is in the wrong chunk. I'm just gonna move everything over a block and see what happens. Right, one block further up so that this block is now in the right chunk. Maybe I should have moved it to 2 blocks while I was at it. Well, too late now. And now let's see what happens if I give it power. Not that I have much power to give it. It does appear to be running though, which is a good sign. So let's put the tank in front of the output. There we go, and we have a little bit of crude. The quest calls for a bucket of it, and I'll grab a bucket of it just to make sure it's a workable type of oil. Seems like a pretty good deal. There was about 100k RF in the power bank, so for 100k RF we got just about half the tank. I took a bucket out of it too, so for some reason the tooltip doesn't tell me that. Here, I can just do this, I guess. Just under 10 buckets. That's actually a pretty great deal. So this oil costs us about 10,000 RF a bucket to pump, and then refining into naphtha costs, let's see, times 5. So 25,000 RF, so we're at 35,000 for a bucket. And then refining naphtha into purified fuel, or refined fuel, is what, about 6 times that? So 6 times 5, 30. So it's like 65,000 RF a bucket to refine, to pump up and refine. And it burns for at least 1.5 million. So that's a pretty good loop, I'd say. Cool. So I went and crafted a couple fractioning stills, and let's see, where do I want to place these? I guess let me replace this portable tank maybe with a ender tank, and then I'll put all my power generation in this room somewhere. Naturally, transporting a black liquid requires a black ender tank. I realize I use blue for my blackberries, and that is an unforgivable sin. So you guys can all unsubscribe from my channel now, and I won't feel guilty about it. Anyways, black ender tank. I'll empty this into that real quick so that we can recycle that tank. All right. I still do have to run power over here, I realize, to power the capacitor bank, but oh well. Maybe I'll use the wireless energy nodes for that now that I have, a lot of money. Anyways, where to put this? I guess I will generate power along this wall. All right, so let me set up our power generation. And technically optional, but somewhat important. Whoopsie, that's not what I wanted to do. Give me my pickaxe back. Somewhat important upgrade is this reflux column. So all these operations can work without it. With the reflux column upgrade, for every 200 millibuckets of input, we get 200 millibuckets of output. Without it, let's see, how do I look at that? Without it, for 200 input, we only get 150 output. So it's kind of one of those like, well, why not have it type of upgrades. And it costs $100 each. So we need 2. That's $2, $3, $400. No biggie. Now where'd you go? Thermal upgrades. No, wrong upgrade. Oh, wasted $200. No sense crying over spilt milk. I think that's how the saying goes. Well, remember earlier when I said the refining process is much simpler this way? It really is. In fact, I could squeeze all this even closer together and make it take up, only like 3 blocks left and right. But set up this way, I get vertical scalability, which who knows? Maybe I'll use someday. So anyways, crude oil comes out of the tank. Of course, our pump's not running, so eventually this will run out. But it gets refined into something, producing tar in the process, into naphtha. The naphtha gets refined into refined fuel, producing sulfur in the process. These items I'll probably just store in a voided drawer. I don't know if I actually have need. I might have need for sulfur, but our mob farm produces that, right? Tar, I doubt it does anything. I guess it counts as slime balls. It doesn't have slime ball or dictionary name though. Oh well. All that's left then is to burn this in a compression dynamo, which I think I have to buy. Alright, $800 for a compression dynamo. That's not bad. It's also really hot in this room on account of all this stuff. Let's take this, set it up here. You know what? Let's put the dynamos like this. Right, then I can have a whole string of them. Yeah, I like the sound of that. And then I just have to run the fluid into it. Having money is nice. be able to just buy these conduits instead of, well, these conduits I can't even craft yet, but being able to buy things instead of having to craft things, super convenient. All right, so I need this because it turns out the dynamo here does need fuel and coolant. So, oh, shoot, now I have to void fuel to break this conduit. You know what? No, I don't. I just have to go to that torch. Alright, so the basic tier compression dynamo only produces 40 RF a tick. It's not a lot. I want more. 120. Looks like I'm going to need both a mix of augments and just simply more dynamos. There's two options for augments here. We could either go more power generation or more per millibucket of fuel. I think I'll go for more power generation for now. Can I make another $100 bill somehow? Sure I can, but I'll just buy 3 for now, I guess. So this one. 1, 2, and 3. And let's apply them. So no upgrades, 120 RF a tick. I hope these like double it each. Yeah, each one doubled it then, right? Yeah, that's about what I expected. All right, so 480. That's actually then when I get the fourth one, it'll be 600, and that one generator is now producing, way more than this, right? This is producing 256, and in fact, with this running, the way I have this power cell laid out too isn't very helpful, because right now the power cell only buffers on one side. I'm going to have to set up something else to buffer power here. All right, that's no big deal. Anyways, this is our power generation for now. Pretty soon, in fact, even already, these are now running at full speed. I'll probably throw another augment in them because we have a pretty large backlog to work through now. Which brings me to the next problem. Right now, we have a lot of money, right? That's what, 2,700 of these, so 2,007 or these are $10 each, so $27,000, but they're in $10 bills, and that's not very useful. I'd much rather have them in hundreds or 500s. So I'm going to try to set up a series of crafters to craft them into, let's say, 500s. And I think the easiest way to do that is 2 10s into a 20, and then can I go, 5 20s into a 100, and then 5 hundreds into a 500. By the power of auto crafting, we have 54 $500 bills. This will really enable us to, buy anything we want. So first of all, what I want to buy is I want something that will allow me to wirelessly send power to our pump jack. Ooh, red X. What's this? Oh, never mind. Well, it ain't cheap, but we definitely need them. So wireless transfer. I mean, the alternative is I guess is just to buy enough conduits or run a rail system to move charged capacitors or something. But no, I think I'm just going to buy these. So we need 2 of these and a GPS tool, I believe. GPS marker. Oh, I don't have a $100 bill. Aha. All right. And then we just have to set this up. So it turns out you only need 1 of these energy nodes. The transmission is done magically from so here, let me just show you. The way it works is, oh cool, once you store the location of a block, it gets saved there. So you can even reuse the GPS marker. But what you do is you take the GPS marker, you go find the target block you want to send power to. In this case, I want to send it to the capacitor bank. So shift right click that. It saves it into the GPS marker. Then you come back over here, put your GPS marker into here, and it sends power there. Oh, I guess you do need to leave the. Okay, you do need to leave the GPS marker in. So each transfer node can support up to 9 connections. It can send up to 16,000 RF, presumably per tick, and it costs 1 GPS marker per connection. So I have a second one now for, I don't know, later use. I don't know if there's a range on these, if it's infinite, if it's even infinite interdimensional, but I guess, it's at least long enough to get to the other side of the base. Since there is a dimension specified on the GPS marker, I suspect that it is interdimensional, which probably implies it's also limitless range. which is pretty neat. All right, so now that causes our tank to be full. Actually, I wonder if the tank is full, does the machine keep running? If so, I should come up with some logic to stop that. That does appear to be the case. And unfortunately, ender tanks don't emit comparator signals proportional to fullness. So we're going to have to use another tank as a buffer, I think. Yeah, so these tanks do emit a signal proportional to how full they are. So if I just do that, let's see. I'll tuck the ender tank down underneath it. Set you to output mode. And then just, if this signal is greater than a certain amount, we'll run redstone up to the pump jack to disable it. And that's pretty simple. If the tank is more than, I didn't specify an actual value, but somewhere around like 30-ish% full, right? How many boxes is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if it's giving a redstone signal of 7 or greater, which is almost half, it'll turn the pump jack off. That way, I don't actually know if the pump jack wastes fuel if it's running, but it definitely wastes energy. So, yeah, this is now our upgraded power system. Now, I think I'm going to add a second generator because one doesn't seem to be able to keep up when we have, everything running. But a second compression dynamo should solve that. So with two fully upgraded compression dynamos, they max out at 600 each, so that's 1200 RF a tick. That is plenty of power. As for what I'm going to do about storage, I think I'm just going to swap out the power cell here, or the energy cell, with a capacitor bank. This capacitor bank costs something like 20 of these, so what, $10,000? But it's input and output on the same side, so that's a sizable upgrade. At this point, all that's left really are some cleanup tasks. I'm putting the leftover byproducts of this process into into a voided drawer. So we'll hold. I may as well give 2 slots each. It'll be up to 4,000 of each, and then after that, it'll start voiding them. And I guess that's it. This is our upgraded power system to the tune of 1,200 RF a tick and very easily scalable. Apparently, we're too rich to put $500 bills in our wallet. I think it's because this is actually a custom item, whereas the money is actually from like a money mod. Oh well, I guess we'll store them separately in our satchel. Anyways, with this now set up, I max out the upgrades in this, and I plan on using more of our farm to grow berries now. Always good to have more money, right? So let's head up to these. Well, actually, let's get some components first. What I needed were a bunch of trims and some controller slaves. So my plan is under each of these plots, let's just do it. So I'll run a bunch of oak trims over. I should have marked the center of that plot real quick too. Let's see, is it here? Looks about right. Let's see, so here we'll put a controller slave and a pearled ender hopper. That way the items that drop from this farm plot will also, end up ultimately in this drawer. And I'll do the same for each of the other 2 farm plots. I just realized a lot of these sprinklers that are in range of the first farm plot weren't even running because they don't have water under them. So I'm going to replace all this dirt with enchanted soil and leave the water under the sprinklers, obviously, so that they run. All right, I planted crop sticks in each of these plots, gave them their starter seed, and now they're pretty quickly spreading out, actually. I was about to say slowly spreading, but no, it's spreading pretty quickly. Apparently, there's some sprinklers somewhere that apparently I missed turning off, but it's like really hard to tell exactly which ones it is. So I'm not going to bother trying to catch the last few, things that are generating particles. It's not even that many particles, so I don't know. Causing a little bit of lag, I'm sure. My frame rate here, yeah, it's only 32 FPS, but oh well. And last step is to set up the harvesters. So, what are these? They're 7x7. And here it is, all cylinders firing. all the plants eventually end up into this chest or drawer, which I imagine is full. Yeah. So now we're once again producing much faster than we're compacting, which likely means we'll need a second compactor. But now this process will probably, like this entire system, will probably generate, if I had to guess, somewhere around, I don't know, maybe 2 to 300,000 gil a day. But that's just an estimate. So let me head back down to my base and see if we can address the next bottleneck. The problem wasn't what I thought it was. I thought that this compactor would be saturated, but no. Turns out it's actually this autocrafter is saturated. So I'm gonna rearrange stuff a little bit. I'll probably end up having one autocrafter per compactor, and then I'll merge them together, at this level because this compactor can do probably like 5 or 6. It can take input from like 5 or 6 of these and still manage to keep up. I had to spend basically all of my money on these upgrades. But once these are fully upgraded, and I need to put some more in here, that should now result in much more, you spend money to earn money. And it looks like this compactor is just barely keeping up with the ones ahead of it. If this one can't keep up, I'll need one more compactor. But anyways, I basically just scaled the system up 4 times. So there's now 4 ender chests feeding into 4 autocrafters, feeding into 4 compactors, feeding into at least one. Maybe we'll get a second one eventually. But a compactor here that compacts that. And actually, let's see. Why is this not full? Are you running? Missing input item. Rate of. Oh, I have the wrong input. Ah, I see. Very briefly, I had my conduits misconfigured, which resulted in the wrong items being inserted. All right, there we go. And I'm pretty sure this merchant shipper is still fast. Yeah, one merchant shipper is definitely fast enough. And that'll get turned into $500 bills. So with that, I think that completes our system upgrades for today. And in fact, looking at this, we don't quite have 100% uptime on all of these. Why are you so slow compared to the other ones? Oh, never mind. You're actually faster. Okay. And here's a system in all her glory. We actually might be consuming more power than our generators are producing because like this one's running at almost 100% uptime at 750 a tick. We have a bunch of these running at pretty high uptime at 750 a tick. If needed, I'll just add a third dynamo. But before we wrap things up today, there's one thing I want to check out. While I was on the surface working on the farm, I saw a ship up there. So, oh, by the way, actually, first of all, our water candles have gotten, they continue to grow. Pretty soon we'll have no room down here for anything but water candles. I have a lot of chests. I'll open those later. But yeah, I think I've grown to, they're not like, most of these aren't lit, so they're literally doing nothing. But I've grown to like these water candles. They're like a defining feature of our base. So I'm going to leave them there. Anyways, while I was up working on our farm, I saw that. It's a ship, and a ship that's not wrecked. Let's go check it out for the last thing we do today. Stupid sharks. Alright, looks like there's a convenient way up here. There's almost a convenient way up here. Do I have any blocks on me? Sure, that'll do. And what's in the ship? Oh, it looks like the same design as the sunken ships, except it's just not sunken. That's not very exciting. Right, yeah, it has the useless loot chest, bookshelves. Well, this is shaping up to be a thorough disappointment. This is even like, there's 2 types of sunken ships. This is the less useful of the 2. Oh, wait. I feel like something here is trapped. This feels like it should be a trap, Okay, there's a block of diamond. I guess that makes it not terribly useless. But still not terribly useful. In any event, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.